Buddha.
All right, bam, we in the building. Liberation Minded Media. It's Jay Dizzle, you already know. Today's topic, and we're going to try to get through this in a good 30 minutes. Get in, get out, get the message out. Make sure you guys share, like, comment, and all that good stuff. All right, so as you can see, how we getting down on this one is the reparations movement under attack. I think it's pretty clear that it is, but I'm going to show you just some of the ways that it's being attacked. And unfortunately, most of the attack is coming from people who look like us. This is why it's so important to not just distinguish FBA or Black Americans from the immigrant coon class, from the bourgeoisies, and also from some of these organizations who don't really represent our best interests and never really have. So we're going to start this off with the first organization, or one of the biggest ones, one of the ones that's like a Trojan horse, because a lot of people don't really know how the NAACP was formed and why it was formed and who it was formed by. But we could just look at their actions and tell who they really rock with. So let's start it off with this right here, man. So for some of y'all that know, there's been proposals, this reparation movement has been gaining steam over the last few years. And California, a couple other states have really been stepping up to the plate with actually putting some type of groundwork and actions behind the reparations movement. So as this has happened, one of the latest things that some of y'all might already know, California, or at least San Francisco, proposed a $5 million reparations. And guess who came out to reject this? The NAACP San Francisco branch rejects $5 million reparation payment to blacks, calls for reparations to focus on investment and opportunities in 5 key areas at Board of Supervisors meeting on reparations today. Now, it's just the audacity. Look, man, I said this on Twitter. A lot of people agree with it. NAACP is ops at this point. They're just ops. They don't fuck with us like that. They never really have. I'm going to show you some other things that is funny, because they actually, and listen, I said this years ago. Let me show you guys something real quick. This is something from my other channel, right? I shared this on my other channel, and I shared someone else who I'm going to show you, this Coleman Cruz Hughes dude. Because in 2019, almost a year to the day, is when this story came out. So they support endorsing LGBT Equality Act, meaning letting the LGBT be covered under the 1964 Civil Rights Equality Act. They supported this years ago. And when they did this, I said that this is going to throw a monkey wrench in the reparations movement. And the reason I said that is because if now we're going to have LGBTQ under the umbrella of civil rights covered by the 1964 Civil Rights Act, that means they're going to have leverage on issues that have to do directly with us, including reparations. And the reason why that's the problem, see, a lot of people think like, oh, you just don't like gays and nah, it's not that, man. First of all, what is LGBT? When have they ever been not equal? For real. Besides not being able to marry. When have you seen people come under attack for their sexuality on a systematic level? Are they being pulled over and shot by the police? Are they being followed around in stores? Are Karens confronting them and calling the police over goofy shit? Are they not able to get jobs and make a decent living? Are they being discriminated in the bank or in the courts? It's cap. But the reason why it's an issue for them to be covered under the Equality Act and marked as a civil rights group is because the vast majority of LGBTQ are middle to upper class white folks, white men specifically. That's just the fact. Yeah, they might put us as the mascot, because without doing that, they could have never snuck in there as a civil rights group. They could have never got the civil rights angle popping if they let it be known what the real demographic, especially of the leadership of these LGBTQ organizations, are. So they use us as the front person because that's how they get leverage as being endorsed by civil rights. So I covered this years ago on my other YouTube channel. Matter of fact, I even did, just to let y'all know, I'm not new to this. 3 years ago, I did a show. I did a broadcast on Black Guy Stand Radio about the reparations movement. I've been speaking about reparations for a minute. But back to this. Why it's important to understand this and why I said what I said. And I said this as soon as this article came out in 2019, because I understood the fugazi that was going to happen. And guess exactly what happened. This is what happened shortly after. Let me show you guys something. Where is it at? Oh, here we go. I think we got the video here too. So what happened shortly after that? Because remember, that was March, right? And that's when I did the video. And then in June, here's what happened. This particular dude right here, his name is, he's a tether, by the way. He's Puerto Rican descent. And he's also LGBTQ. And he was a no-name at this time, right? But they used him at the congressional hearing to talk down reparations. Because of course now LGBT has leverage in that conversation based on the fact that they qualify as being a civil rights group. So check this out. Let's go ahead and play this. Now first let me give you a little bit of background on this dude. So this dude was a nobody at the time. At the time I went through his IG page. I actually showed a video because he was like an aspiring rapper, right? And he had a video. I couldn't find the video. You could thank me for not being able to find it because you probably didn't want to see it. But in this video, it was called the name of the video. So if you want to look for it yourself, just so you can, verify that I'm not falsifying information on this dude. The video was called "My Dick Works Fine." It's a song that he made, a rap song or whatever. And in the video, he's dancing around in a New York subway in his underwears, sliding down the poles of the subway. Salacious nonsense. So, but what I'm saying is this dude was a nobody. Like, out of all the people that they could have put in this reparations hearing, they picked some dude, some random aspiring rapper dude, tether dude, homosexual dude, to speak against our reparations. I'm gonna let you hear what he said out of his own mouth. And what I'm saying is he wasn't like an influencer. Like when I went to his IG page, his IG followers were like less than I have on my IG at the time. And I have roughly under 1,000. And he didn't even have that. So like, who was this dude? But now you're about to see exactly why they used him. Because reparations movement is being attacked, and they're going to use our own. So here we go.
Thank you, Chairman Cohen, Ranking Member Johnson, and members of the committee. It's an honor to testify on a topic as important as this one. Nothing I'm about to say is meant to minimize the horror and brutality of slavery and Jim Crow. Racism is a bloody stain on this country's history, and I consider our failure to pay reparations directly to freed slaves after the Civil War to be one of the greatest injustices ever perpetrated by the U.S. government. But I worry that our desire to fix the past compromises our ability to fix the present. Think about what we're doing today. We're spending our time debating a bill that mentions slavery 25 times, but incarceration only once, in an era with no black slaves, but nearly 1 million black prisoners.
Let me say this. When you read the 13th Amendment, you'll understand that mass incarceration, because of the law that after slavery, no one can be a slave except if they're convicted of a crime. So really, that's just an extension of slavery. Why would it be like why is that a point of contention? It all goes together. But reparations isn't about the fact that people are incarcerated. Many people are incarcerated. Reparations is about the fact that we built this country for free. We're never compensated, and we're never able to build generational wealth because we weren't allowed to own property. The biggest, most common way millionaires are made, and the biggest, most common ways wealth is handed down generationally, is through home ownership. So of course, during slavery, we couldn't own homes. Afterwards, they systematically took that ability away from us. And even now, it's more difficult per capita than others. So this all goes together. So just the audacity of this dude, who really doesn't even have a talk in this fight. He doesn't even have the right to be speaking on this because his lineage is from Puerto Rico. But this is what they're doing. They're using those who look like us as the front line against the movement of reparations. And we got to talk about this tether problem as well, because it's a problem. It's a problem when you have some of these Haitian cats come in here undermining our movement. And look, this ain't all immigrants from the Caribbean or from Africa. We're speaking about specific demographic or specific contingency or constituency of these that we would call coons. So same way that we have to check our own coons, y'all got to check yours, and we'll check them for you if you don't. Because you have places like Haiti where they just had the president assassinated. They got gangs running the country over there right now. And they got time to worry about us and what we're doing to undermine us. See, the problem is this. This is the problem with the tethers. This is why these tethers need to be checked, and they really need to check themselves and self-evaluate what their real priorities should be. Because you can bet that assassination of their president was initiated or at least assisted by Western powers. So that means that you guys have to come here to the wealth that we built because your land is in shambles and you didn't do anything to combat that over there. But it's in shambles because the same people who put it in shambles are the same people who you're coming over here to work with against us. See, it would make more sense that you would identify the fact that, hey, the reason why Haiti's in shambles, the reason why Nigeria is so corrupt, and even though it's a wealthy nation as Haiti should actually be the richest country in the Western Hemisphere. So y'all come from these minerally rich countries that have been corrupted by Western powers, then you come here where it's better for you based on what we did. But instead of linking with us, you want to link with them against us. You're linking with the same ones who destroyed your homeland and who destroyed us as a people. That's why we see you as the first line of defense for white supremacy.
A bill that doesn't mention homicide once, at a time when the Center for Disease Control reports homicide as the #1 cause of death for young black men. I'm not saying that acknowledging history doesn't matter. It does. I'm saying there's a difference between acknowledging history and allowing history to distract us from the problems we face today. In 2008, the House of Representatives formally apologized for slavery and Jim Crow. In 2009, the Senate did the same. Black people don't need another apology. We need safer neighborhoods and better schools. We need a less punitive criminal justice system. We need affordable health care. And none of these things can be achieved through reparations for slavery.
Whoa. The audacity, man. Like, these are nonsensical arguments that these cats make. You can't really make a logical argument against reparations. It's a debt owed. We are owed that. The wealth of this nation was built on our backs. What do you mean? Safer housing doesn't come with reparations, can't solve safer housing? Well, why are neighborhoods typically not safe? This goes across the board for any race. When you have poverty, you have crime. When you have crime, you have violence. So if we haven't had the same opportunities to be homeowners and generational wealth builders, we're going to find ourselves in situations where high risk behavior almost is necessary just in order to eat. Because that's the kind of crimes that we commit for the most part. It's not crimes of lust. You can look at the stats. The type of crimes, when they always speak about these crime numbers, they're typically called crimes of survival. Things that desperate people feel they have to do in order to eat and pay bills. So education, yes, it can be rectified with reparations. Because now people could afford to go whatever school they want to go to and get educated. And you can hear the people in the background.
Nearly everyone close to me told me not to testify today.
Yeah, you should have listened.
They told me that even though I've only ever voted for Democrats, I'd be perceived as a Republican.
That's not why.
And therefore hated by half the country. Others told me that by distancing myself from Republicans, I would end up angering the other half of the country. And the sad truth is that they were both right. That's how suspicious we've become of one another. That's how divided we are as a nation. If we were to pay reparations today...
Look at even the white lady. She can't even believe it, the audacity of this cool nigga. She's like, damn. Wow. This nigga look very suspicious. He's like, who is this cat? Let me just get a look at what a real coon up in person looks like. She's blank. She don't know what to think. Yeah, this is the audacity. Like I said, this is in part a result. We have to go back to the NAACP. Because this was in June. This was in March. So, and this is the connection that I made back then. I knew that once the NAACP helped to endorse the LGBT into the Equality Act of 1964, that means that they would have a say in reparations. I made that video March 2019. A few months later, this happened.
We would only divide the country further, making it harder to build the political coalitions required to solve the problems facing black people today.
Look. We don't care. Listen, Why didn't anybody have this argument when it came to paying Jews money for what happened in the Holocaust in Germany? That had nothing to do with us. Why didn't anyone make these arguments when the Japanese got compensated for what they went through, or the red-skinned Native Americans, or even the slave masters in slavery who got reparations, or even the French who got reparations? Why is it only when we're supposed to get ours, all of a sudden it's going to be divisive? And unlike other communities, see, you wouldn't see any Jewish people saying, "No, Jews don't deserve reparations" or whatever. But they could always find some of these coon-ass Negroes to go against our best self-interest. That's why these cats have to be called out. That's why this has to be understood. That's why it's important to have a grassroots media apparatus that can break down what's going on and put the proper narrative in it.
We would insult many Black Americans by putting a price on the suffering of their ancestors.
Look at that. Look at that bullshit. We would insult them. Who's going to be insulted? Look, it is what it is, man. There's no monetary value that you could really put on what we went through. That's a fair argument. But to say we would be insulted by it, as if it would be better not to get it, as if our ancestors don't want their descendants to have a fair shake at the country that they built. That would be like saying, if you have life insurance and you're leaving money to your children, that your children are going to be insulted by a value being put on your life when you are demised. These arguments, they start to sound more and more desperate, because there isn't really a logical argument to say that a debt that is owed shouldn't be paid. Not only a debt that is owed, but a debt that was promised at one point. These are the kind of shills that they send at us. But there's more.
And we would turn the relationship between Black Americans and white Americans from a coalition into a transaction.
A coalition? I wasn't aware that we had some type of coalition with white folks. I wasn't aware of it. If that's, show me that coalition. That's not to say that, like, whatever, I have a hatred towards. I'm just saying, like, what coalition are you talking about? And if that would divide, if us being put on equal grounds, which we are owed and do, causes a rift between anyone, then they weren't with us anyway. They didn't have our best interest in mind anyway. So they could feel how they want to feel, but cut the check.
From a union between citizens into a lawsuit between plaintiffs and defendants. What we should do is pay reparations to Black Americans who actually grew up under Jim Crow and were directly harmed by second-class citizenship.
That's all of us. Because if my parents were affected by it, that means the resource they had access to, the ability to build wealth that they had access to, affected me. Just like their parents affected them, and so on and so on. That's the point. You see, if we were compensated at the time of us building this country, we would have been able to pass down generational wealth. We wouldn't need reparations. Because we would be 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th generations into ownership. And there wouldn't be the wealth gap. That's the point.
People like my grandparents. But paying reparations to all descendants of slaves is a mistake. Take me, for example. I was born 3 decades after the end of Jim Crow into a privileged household in the suburbs. I attend an Ivy League school, yet I'm also descended from slaves who worked on Thomas Jefferson's Monticello plantation. So reparations for slavery would allocate federal resources to me, but not to an American with the wrong ancestry, even if that person is living paycheck to paycheck and working multiple jobs to support a family. You might call that justice. I call it justice for the dead.
You see that brother in the background? He can't believe it. He's like, this is unfucking believable. Because it is unfucking believable. Remember, this is like 4 years old though, y'all. Almost to the day. Well, not almost to the day, but yeah. So he's saying because I'm privileged. And in the same hearing, guess who else came up and said pretty much the same thing? Herschel Walker. Well, I'm rich. I got money. I don't need Yeah, I know. So this is what happens. See, this is the detachment that happens sometimes when people feel like they got somewhere. All of a sudden, they make that separation. All of a sudden, they see, one thing you have to understand sometimes about classism is that even your own will go against you because they want to protect their own wealth, or they're detached from having sympathy for what people are going through that they can't relate to. We see this with rich white people all the time. They don't really care about poor white people. And we see this with the bourgeois crowd within our own. See, I went to Ivy League school in the suburbs and I'll get reparations. Well, if you don't want the reparations, don't take them. The rest of us demand that check get cut.
At the price of justice for the living. I understand that reparations are about what people are owed, regardless of how well they're doing. I understand that. But the people who are owed for slavery are no longer here, and we're not entitled to collect on their debts. Reparations.
That would be like saying, if when you were a child, someone broke into your parents' home and killed them and stole their home, when you got older, that you wouldn't have any claim on their home. Because if that was a valid point across the board, that would mean that we shouldn't be paying billions of dollars to Israel, which we shouldn't anyway, because the United States ain't the ones that was gassing them cats over there. It was Germany. But do you think that he would ever fix his mouth to speak against the aid, financial aid that Israel gets? Of course not. Or that the red-skinned Native Americans get? Of course not. Because they would never give them a platform to do so. They gave them the platform to speak against our cause.
By definition, are only given to victims. So the moment you give me...
So that's, anyway, the point about that, I don't want to go into this dude again. I already flamed this dude before. I'm just showing you the detriment of the NAACP, because they don't help us anymore. Well, I don't even know if they ever did. If you understand who they were created by, the 2939, or some people call small hats anyway, as a way to detract a movement, a grassroots movement that was going on during that time. So anyway, they're basically echoing the same sentiments. Yeah, we don't think that we should be no reparations. Instead, give us, look at this. Here's the city one. This is what they want. Reverend Amos Brown said that at the Board of Supervisors, which is holding a hearing today at 3 p.m. on the city's reparations plan and Dream Keepers initiative, should direct its focus on providing 5 key elements as parts of reparations: education, jobs, housing, healthcare, and cultural center for blacks in San Francisco. We strongly believe that creating and funding programs that can improve the lives of those who have been impacted by racism and discrimination is the best path forward towards equality and justice. Brown said he called upon the city to invest in education. Black students don't perform as well as their peers. We need remedial programs to help. Fuck. This nigga wants us to have programs instead of a check. As if with a check of 5 million, like we couldn't put our children and ourselves through better schools or build our own schools. He wants to just continue the legacy of New Age slavery. Look at the next one, economic empowerment. So as if a $5 million check wouldn't be economic empowerment. Instead, what he's saying is with President Biden's infrastructure bill, we want to see more black people get the opportunity to get jobs. The fuck? So no $5 million check where you can create your own jobs, own shit. No, he wants us to be able to get jobs as if no one else would have access to those same jobs. That's not reparations. Housing. We want more housing, more public housing, more affordable housing for blacks. There should be a preferential treatment. I do know how to read, you guys. For blacks to keep our people in the city of Come on, man. I think $5 million, even though I know California's expensive. I think you could afford to take care of your own housing with that kind of money. In fact, you could afford to produce housing. So, no check. Give us some programs for education. No check. Give us some jobs. No check. Just put up some more low-income housing for us. Because we just want to stay on the plantation. This is what Reverend Amos was saying, man. If y'all in San Francisco, y'all need to go pull up on dude, bro. I ain't saying I heard him, just pull up on him. Let him know that we don't appreciate him speaking on our behalf. Healthcare. Blacks don't have the same lifespan as the majority population. We need programs that positively impact our health, our longevity, and our mental health. Once again, with the check, we could build our own institutions of health and afford to eat better and have more time to take care of our bodies. And we can build SABE approved or whatever culturally relevant health facilities that we own and operate. And last but not least, the Fillmore Heritage Center. You already know what that is. But as we've already shown you with the Hidden History Museum that a lot of people are against, that collectively we can fund our own heritage centers. And with a $5 million check, we can do it bigger and better and duplicate that all over the country. So we're supposed to forsake a $5 million reparation payment that's being proposed for a bunch of bullshit that we could do ourselves with the check. So in other words, they don't want the NAACP under the local leadership of Dr. Amos Brown doesn't want us to have the ability to be self-autonomous. He's saying, no, keep the check, San Francisco. Just let us in your schools. Just give us some jobs, some jobs that are soon to come. Just build some more public housing. Just give us some programs for healthcare. Just build us a heritage center. However, we do have advocates on the grassroots level. So let's give a shout out to this cat right here.
Fourth generation resident of Oakland, California, born and raised, town business in the building. I just want to come here as a representative of the Clark family. Second generation skilled tradesman, elevator escalator worker, mechanic, and I just want to bring the focus back to why we're having this reparation.
Now, before this, you might have seen on Tyreek's page. I hope I wasn't muted for that. This cat right here in the back just came up trolling, saying all kinds of bullshit, throwing people under the bus. But this cat right here seems to be a little bit more on code.
The whole purpose is fourth generation resident of Oakland, California, born and raised, town business in the building. I just want to come here as a representative of the Clark family. Second generation skilled tradesman, elevator escalator worker, mechanic, and I just want to bring the focus back to why we're having this reparation task force. The whole purpose is because us, descendants of slaves, foundational Black Americans, were purposely and deliberately attacked at our land, our people. We were stolen, destroyed, and killed. The whole purpose of this is to bring our families the proper reparations we need, and that's a check from the Franchise Tax Board, number one, or with all the rest of the parts of reparations. I want to thank you for the time and appreciate you for hearing me now. And please, I know you guys are stressed out, probably being attacked by white supremacists. I can't even imagine. But please, you are on the precipice of doing the right thing for not only for foundational Black Americans here in California, but for all of us.
It's actually really doing the right thing for the country, actually. Not just, reparations doesn't just benefit us, you guys. It benefits the country because it will stimulate the economy. It will lift up the lower elements of the cities which have been displaced and economically challenged. So when you've seen a couple of these like comments and stuff, these comments were not directed towards this brother right here. It was directed toward this cat who was saying a bunch of bullshit. But of course, San Francisco's NAACP responded with, "Don't give those niggas reparations." Kind of like this clown right here. Now, let me see if there's anything else I want to share about this shit before I... Oh, okay, check this out. Here's another way this is being attacked. And it's also being attacked by the likes of Taharka Bey and his tether brigade that he has been able to put together of cats like this. Trolls.
For Black History Month, reparations, anybody want to donate? Oh my God, 20? I love you, sir. Thank you.
Hold up, now you know this cat right here. You know he ain't us, right? He's out there trolling. Here's the cool part. He's actually monetizing his trolling by trying to undermine reparations, but he's collecting money on behalf of reparations on some clown shit.
Thank you. Reparations? A 20? Thank you, man. Hey, you get a pass. You can say one time this year. All right, man? Hell yeah, my.
Man, you know damn well that ain't our folk right there, man. That is not our folk right there, man. You already know. You already know. What else was I gonna show one time? Oh, this is as I get out of here. Now let me say this. Like I said, man, there's a lot of elements to this whole reparations and this tether situation that needs to be addressed. Because this, you know, when we speak about tethers, we're not speaking about anyone who has an immigrant background. We're speaking about those kind of cats. We're speaking about these kind of cats who go out of their way just to troll. A lot of it's just based out of hate for Tariq Nasheed and for us, because really, by default, when they're attacking Tariq, they're attacking FBA, and that's exactly what this dude does. And you know, look at this. Ain't seen no FBA with this type of jump. Despite all that hooping, these guys will win the NBA for 50 years in a row with them jumps. So, you know, he's those niggas. I mean, let's come on, man. Let's keep it buck, man. Like I said, it's like a hatred that they have towards us. They don't miss any opportunity to attack us. And it's not just about this particular dude, because I'm not trying to promote his Twitter. But really, there's slews of these dudes. They're all over. They're littered. Social media is littered with them. If you've seen what happened in Seattle a couple months ago, it was one of these tether niggas who shot up like 5 brothers and said that he didn't say he hates. He said he doesn't like black people. When he got arrested, that's what he said. So these sentiments, as you see on social media, sometimes actually materialize if they're not neutralized early. That's why it's important to identify. Meanwhile, you got their cities, their countries are in shambles, and they're doing nothing about it. But they do have time to come here and troll us. They want to hate on the museum. They want to undermine our reparations movement. They spit their vitriol and hate. Look at this. FBA women wish they could do this. What it is they have an inferiority complex because they feel like they can't measure up to us. So they'll look for any silly reason to troll and try to make themselves feel better than us. You know what I'm saying? Like it might sound like jokes, but he's saying basically, FBA women, they can't double dutch like this. Look at we're over here in Mozambique. I'm like, man, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck if you got the Mossy Warriors jumping up high and all that? Who cares? Be proud of that if you want to. That's cool. No slight on them. But to use that to attack us. And the fact is, y'all cats came here based on the fact, here's another one. Based on the fact that you couldn't cut it back home. Based on the fact that your home is suffering due to Western white supremacy that demolished your home country and took all the resources to the point to where you couldn't make it out there and you didn't want to fight there for what's yours. So you came here to tether off of us and also to undermine us on behalf of the same people who destroyed your homeland. That's what makes you despicable. But it ain't just tethers, because we got people like Charleston. And we already know this dude's a clown. Charleston White, he's a clown. This nigga's a fucking clown.
Send an FBA to the inner city and call a town hall meeting and see if people listen to him. So why would I be down with a bunch of weak black motherfuckers claiming FBA and they done come up with some white boy letters to put on it? Like the FBI, DEA, HSI. Yeah, that's some more white boy shit. That he done handpicked some intelligent niggas to come run a play down. Yeah, me I know that shit.
Hold up, there's another one with Charleston White I wanted to show you guys. So it's cats like Charleston White. It's these tethers. It's some of our own, quote unquote, our own organizations like the NAACP that are most heavily coming against us. Here we go. I think this is the one.
Bitch ass nigga, then I tell your bitch ass about to come to Cleveland, and then you still gonna come to this bitch, and I say, bitch, yeah, nigga, I'm fucking you up, nigga.
Nah, that ain't that one.
I'm fucking you up, boy.
Come look at it, baby. Come look at it.
Anyway, I don't want to make this too long, y'all. I think it's long enough. But I just wanted to show you guys that we are under attack. The reparations movement is being attacked. That's why it is important to support underground, grassroots media channels. And it's also equally as important, if not more so, to be part of whatever's going on in your community, reparations related or related to betterment based on your own goals and talents and skills and resources, to allocate that towards the betterment of us in general. Yourself first and your family and your community, but us in general. We got to circle the wagon and support ourselves in what's in our best interest and identify that which is coming against us. That's it, y'all. Appreciate y'all watching. Make sure you give it a like, subscribe if you ain't already, comment, whatever you do, share it. Thanks for your time, y'all. Peace.